Howdy, folks, and welcome to another great adventure tonight. Oh boy, do we got a good one for you. Tonight we're going to be talking about the massacre at Mimms Fort. Yep, happened a long time ago, back in the 1800s. And of course, as always, I have some things, and you can sit back and enjoy some of this stuff. Yes, Fort Mimms Massacre, Baldwin County, Alabama. August 30th, 1813. Now, I know none of you were around at that time, but sit back and enjoy the good story anyway. It is a thriller. The following account of the destruction of Mimms Fort and the adjoining defenses by the Southern Indians previous to their removal to the west is extracted from the journals of the year 1813. Few days before the attack, some Negroes of Mr. McGirt's, who lived in the park of the Creek County inhabited by half-breeds, had been sent up by Alabama to his plantation for corn. 3 of them were taken by a party of Indians. Well, didn't that seem like the way things go back then? They were just always being taken by Indians. One escaped and brought down the news of the approach of the Indians. The officer gave but little credit to him, but they made some further preparation to receive the enemy. On the next day, Mr. James Cornells of a half-breed and some white men who had been out on the late battleground and discovered the trail of a considerable body of Indians going towards Mr. Gertz, came to the fort and informed the commanding officer of their discovery. Though their report did not appear to receive full credit, its occasioned greater exertions, and on Saturday and Sunday, considerable work was done to put the fort in a state of defense. Sunday morning, 3 Negroes were sent out to attend the cattle, who soon returned with an account that they had seen 20 Indians. Scouts were sent out to ascertain the truth of the report. They returned and declared that they could see no signs of Indians. One of the Negroes, belonging to Mr. Random, was whipped for bringing what they deemed a false report. Yeah. That's how you get things going. No wonder why they were always. But anyway, false report sent out again on Monday, and they saw a body of Indians approaching. But afraid of being whipped, he did not return to Mimms, but to Pierce's fort. But for his story could he be communicated, the attack was made. The commanding officer called upon Mr. Fletcher, who owned another of the Negroes, to whip him also. He believed the boy and resisted 2 or 3 of his applications, but at length they had him actually brought out for the purpose. When the Indians appeared in view of the fort, the gate was open. The Indians had to come through an open field 150 yards wide before they could reach the fort, and yet they were within 30 steps of the fort at 11 o'clock in the morning. Ooh, yeah. Before they were noticed, the sentry then gave the cry of Indians, Indians! And they immediately set up the most terrible war whoop and rushed in. The gate was inconceivably rapid, and they got within it before the people at the fort had any opportunity of shutting it. This decided their fate. Major Beasley, who was shot through the belly near the gate, he called to the men to take care of the ammunition and to retreat to the house. He went himself to a kitchen where it is supposed he must have been burnt. Not a good fate. As you can see by the picture, it says here in Creek Indian War 1813 to 14 took place most brutal massacre in American history. Indians took the fort with heavy losses. They killed all but about 36 of some 550 in the fort. Creeks had been armed by British at Pensacola in this phase of the War of 1812. And there you go. Here's the big blockhouse. The fort was originally square. Mr. Beasley had it enlarged by extending the lines of two sides about 50 feet and putting up a new side into which the gate was removed. The old line of pickets stood, and the Indians, upon rushing into the gate, obtained possession of the additional part, and through the portholes of an old line of pickets fired on people who held the interior. On the opposite side of the fort, an onset, a bastion was made around the back gate. Which being open on the outside was also taken possession of by the Indians, who, with their axes, which lay scattered about, immediately began to cut down the gate. There was a large body of Indians, though they did not probably exceed 400. Our people seemed to sustain the attack with undaunted spirit. They took possession of the portholes in the other lines of the fort and fired on the Indians who remained in the field. Some of the Indians got on the blockhouse at one of the corners, but after firing a good deal down upon the people, they were dislodged. They succeeded, however, in setting fire to a house near the pickets, from which it was communicated to the kitchen, or communicating to the it was located by the kitchen, and from hence to the main dwelling house. They attempted to do it with burning arrows, but failed. When the people of the fort saw that the Indians retained full possession of the outer court, that the gate continued open, that their men fell very fast, and that their houses were in flames, they began to despond. Some determined to cut their way through the pickets and escape. Of the other number of white men and half-breeds in the fort, it is supposed that not more than 25 or 30 escaped, and of these many were wounded. The rest, and almost all the women and children, fell as a sacrifice either to the arms of the Indians or the flames. Oh, what a brutal battle. The battle terminated about an hour or so, or hour and a half, and a half before sunset. Ooh. Well, there you go, people. Wow. Battle away. So if you ever get a trip, this must be a museum or a park of some sort, and you can go and visit that site. You can see the blockhouse and these people and Fort Mimms Massacre. Yes, the Indians opened the gate and they made their way through. They were given guns by the British. And look at this guy here. He's holding a scalp. They got their war tomahawks. They are running for their lives, and nobody was spared. No women or children. You were lucky to get away. What does this say here? At midday, August 30th, about 700 Redstick. Now that's a group. Redstick Warriors attacked the fort. They entered through an open gate and fired into the fort through poorly designed gunports. The commander, Daniel Beasley, died in the first wave, but Park Creek Dixon Bailey rallied the defenders. The attack continued for 5 hours and ended with more than 500 attackers and defenders dead, including most of the women and children at the fort. News spread quickly throughout the South. Troops from surrounding states and territories joined to crush the Creek War. By the following summer, on August 9th, 1814, the defeated Creek leaders met at Fort Jackson near Wetumpka and ceded 23 million acres of their land to the United States. Well, there you go. And that's how the war was won. I guess they do reenactments there. Look at that. Oh boy, wouldn't that be scary? Bullets a flying. All righty. All right, people. I hope you enjoyed that short. It was short, but I hope you learned something from it. And if you have any comments, you live in that area, you've been to that site, let me know in the comments below. I will love to hear your story too. Anyway, check it out. It's been fun. And remember, go out and have your own great adventure. But stay safe doing it. Don't get attacked or anything like that.